Welcome to my channel. Today, we're uncovering one of the biggest breakthroughs in deep learning history: how neural networks learned to remember. For years, neural networks had a fatal flaw. They couldn't remember what they just saw. Imagine trying to understand a sentence, but forgetting each word the moment you read the next one. That's exactly the problem traditional neural networks faced. They processed each input completely independently, with absolutely no memory of what came before. When we feed words like I, love, and pizza into a standard feed-forward network, it processes each word in isolation. By the time it reaches pizza, the network has completely forgotten about I and love. The network's memory is essentially wiped clean after each input. This creates a fundamental problem. How can any AI system understand language, music, or any sequential data if it can't remember what it just saw? This limitation made traditional neural networks completely unsuitable for tasks involving sequences. And that's the problem RNNs, recurrent neural networks, were designed to solve. They gave AI something it never had before: memory.
So why does this matter? Because sequences are everywhere in the real world. Think about language. The sentence, "the dog chased the cat," means something completely different from "the cat chased the dog." Same words, different order, completely different meaning. Word order carries critical information. The same principle applies to stock markets. Today's price depends on yesterday's price, which depends on the day before. You can't predict tomorrow without understanding the sequence of what happened before. Speech is another perfect example. Individual sounds mean nothing on their own, but strung together in the right sequence, they form words and sentences. Each sound only makes sense in the context of what came before and after. And video? A movie is just a sequence of frames. The story only makes sense when you see the frames in order. Shuffle them randomly, and you've got nonsense. In all these domains, the order of information is just as important as the information itself. Any AI system that wants to work with real-world data absolutely must be able to handle sequences.
And here's where the breakthrough happened. RNNs introduced a deceptively simple but revolutionary idea: a loop. Instead of information flowing straight through the network and disappearing, RNNs add a connection that loops back from the output to the input. This creates what we call a hidden state, often written as H sub t. This hidden state is the network's memory. At each time step, the RNN doesn't just look at the current input x sub t, it also receives information from the previous time step through this hidden state. The formula is elegant. H sub t equals some function f of both the previous hidden state, h sub t minus 1, and the current input, x sub t. This means the current hidden state contains information about everything the network has seen so far. It's like taking notes while you read. Each note you write down carries forward information from the previous pages. When you reach the end, your notes contain a summary of the entire book. That's exactly what the hidden state does. It accumulates context as the network processes each element in the sequence.
To really understand how RNNs process sequences, we unroll them through time. Imagine taking that single RNN cell with its loop and stretching it out horizontally. At time step 1, the network receives input x1 and produces output y1 while updating its hidden state. Then, at time step 2, it receives input x2 along with the hidden state h1 from the previous step. This continues for every element in the sequence. The hidden state flows from left to right, carrying accumulated information forward. Here's the crucial insight. Even though we're showing multiple cells, they all share the exact same weights. It's the same network being applied repeatedly, just with different inputs and updated hidden states. This weight sharing is what makes RNNs efficient. Instead of having separate parameters for each position in the sequence, we have one set of parameters that works across all time steps. The network learns patterns that generalize across different positions in sequences. Let's see this in action with a real example. Consider the sentence, "The cat sat on the mat." When we feed this to an RNN word by word, something interesting happens. The first word, the, enters the network. The hidden state updates to encode that we've seen in article, suggesting a noun is coming next. Then cat arrives. Now the hidden state contains information about both words. We have an article followed by a subject. The network understands we're talking about a cat. Sat comes next, and the hidden state now encodes a complete subject-verb structure. The network knows a cat is performing an action. As on, the, and mat flow through, the hidden state continues to grow richer, encoding the full context of the sentence's meaning. By the time we reach the final word, the hidden state contains a compressed representation of the entire sentence's meaning. This is the power of recurrence. Each word builds on the context of all previous words. The final hidden state captures not just the last word, but the accumulated understanding of the complete sequence. So, how do RNNs actually learn? They use a technique called backpropagation through time, or BPTT for short. Here's how it works. At each time step, the network produces an output, and we compare that output to what we wanted, the target. The difference between them is the error. In standard backpropagation, we send error signals backward through the network to update weights. But in RNNs, we have to send these error signals backward through time as well. The gradients flow from the last time step all the way back to the first, passing through every hidden state connection along the way. As these gradients flow backward, they tell each weight how to adjust to reduce the error. Because all time steps share the same weights, the gradient contributions from every step get combined. This is elegant, but creates a problem we'll discuss next. The key insight is that learning in RNNs requires looking at the entire sequence and propagating error signals through all the temporal connections.
And now we hit the biggest problem with basic RNNs, the vanishing gradient problem. Remember how gradients flow backward through time during training? At each step, they get multiplied by the weights. If those weights are less than 1, something troubling happens. Let's say the multiplication factor is 0.5. After one step, our gradient is 0.5. After 2 steps, it's 0.25. After 3 steps, 0.125. See the pattern? After just 10 steps, the gradient has shrunk to about 0.001. It's practically zero. This means that by the time error signals reach the early parts of a long sequence, they're too small to cause meaningful weight updates. The network simply can't learn long-range dependencies. If a word at the beginning of a paragraph is crucial for understanding the end, the basic RNN will struggle to make that connection. The gradients vanish before they can do their job. This fundamental limitation was so fundamental that Hochreiter analyzed it in detail in the original LSTM paper, deriving the exact mathematical conditions under which gradients decay. This fundamental limitation made basic RNNs impractical for many real-world applications involving long sequences, and it's exactly what motivated the invention of LSTMs.
Enter the Long Short-Term Memory Network, or LSTM, invented in 1997 by Sepp Hochreiter and Jürgen Schmidhuber. This architecture was specifically designed to solve the vanishing gradient problem we just discussed. Their original paper, published in Neural Computation, became one of the most influential papers in deep learning history. The key innovation is the cell state, which you can think of as a memory highway. Unlike the hidden state that gets transformed at every step, the cell state can flow through time with minimal changes. Information can travel long distances without being corrupted or fading away. But how does the network decide what to put on this highway and what to take off? That's where gates come in. LSTMs have 3 gates: the forget gate, the input gate, and the output gate. Each gate uses a sigmoid function that outputs values between 0 and 1, essentially deciding how much information should pass through. The original paper's architecture diagram shows exactly how these components connect. This gating mechanism gives LSTMs fine-grained control over their memory. They can learn to hold on to important information for hundreds of time steps while discarding irrelevant details. Let's dive deeper into how these three gates work together, exactly as described in the original LSTM paper. First, the forget gate. It looks at the current input and previous hidden state, passes them through a sigmoid function, and outputs values between 0 and 1 for each element in the cell state. A value near 0 means forget this information. A value near 1 means keep it. For example, if we're processing text and encounter a period ending a sentence, the forget gate might learn to clear out subject-related information since a new sentence is starting. Next, the input gate. This determines what new information to add to the cell state. It has two parts, a sigmoid layer that decides which values to update, and a tan layer that creates a vector of candidate values. These are multiplied together and added to the cell state. Finally, the output gate. It decides what parts of the cell state to output as the hidden state. The cell state passes through tan, then gets multiplied by the sigmoid output of the output gate. The beautiful thing is that during backpropagation, gradients can flow through the cell state with minimal transformation, solving the vanishing gradient problem that plagued traditional RNNs. In 2014, researchers introduced a simpler alternative called the Gated Recurrent Unit, or GRU. The idea was to capture the benefits of LSTM while reducing complexity. GRUs combine the forget and input gates into a single update gate. Instead of separately deciding what to forget and what to add, the update gate does both simultaneously. If the update gate value is high for a particular dimension, new information flows in. If it's low, the old information is retained. GRUs also have a reset gate that determines how much of the previous hidden state to consider when computing the new candidate state. The result is a network with 25% fewer parameters than LSTM. Fewer parameters means faster training and less risk of overfitting. In practice, GRUs often perform just as well as LSTMs on many tasks. The choice between them often comes down to the specific application and available computational resources. Both represent major improvements over basic RNNs for handling long sequences. RNNs and their variants revolutionized countless applications. Machine translation was transformed by sequence-to-sequence models that encode an entire sentence in one language into a hidden state, then decode it into another language. Speech recognition systems use RNNs to convert audio waveforms into text, understanding sounds in the context of what came before. Text generation became possible, with networks learning to write stories, poetry, and even code by predicting one character or word at a time. Sentiment analysis uses RNNs to understand whether a review is positive or negative by processing the full context of the text. Time series prediction in finance, weather forecasting, and demand planning all benefit from RNN's ability to learn temporal patterns. Perhaps most importantly, the concepts pioneered by RNNs laid the groundwork for modern transformers and large language models. The attention mechanism, now central to models like GPT and BERT, evolved from attempts to improve RNN-based translation. Even though transformers have become dominant, understanding RNNs is essential for grasping how AI learned to handle sequential data.
Let's wrap up with the key takeaways from today's video. First, RNNs add memory to neural networks through recurrent loops. That simple self-connection changes everything. Second, the hidden state is the network's memory, carrying information forward through time steps and enabling context-aware processing. Third, vanishing gradients limit basic RNNs. When gradients shrink exponentially during backpropagation, the network can't learn long-range dependencies. Fourth, LSTM and GRU solve this problem through gating mechanisms. The cell state highway in LSTMs and the update gate in GRUs allow information to flow across many time steps without degradation. Fifth, and perhaps most importantly, These architectures enabled AI to truly understand sequences and time for the first time. Looking at the evolution of sequential AI, we went from feed-forward networks in the 1980s to RNNs in 1990, to LSTMs in 1997, to GRUs in 2014, and finally to Transformers from 2017. Onward. Each step built on the insights of the previous one. Memory made AI understand time, and that understanding powers the intelligent systems we use every day. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel for more AI engineering content. Thanks for watching.